Hi, welcome back to This Lovely Stitch. My name is Olivia, and on this channel, we create what we love and explore the creative process. In today's video, I'm going to be going over 10 tips to help improve your junk journaling. For my credentials, this is my most recently finished junk journal. As you can see, it's huge. I think I did about 25 different spreads in this journal. I do have some white space at the back, but that was just because it was getting really hard to close, and I do have to actually store these at my parents' house, so I don't want to get them to be too big and too bulky to manage. But anywho, let's get started with tip number 1. I have my iPad here so I can see the tips, and then I have my coffee. Comment down below what you're doing while watching this video and if you have a fun drink. So tip number 1 is to avoid bulky items. So bulky items can be anything from thick cardboard, actual pieces of like landscape, like rocks, mulch, anything like that. You want to avoid these items just because even though they can look really good for a spread, they can really bulk up your journal quickly and make it so you can't finish those last pages, kind of like what I ran into. So every once in a while, it's good to add bulky things, but it shouldn't be something where every page has a bulky item on it. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is don't be afraid to use other forms of gluing things on to your journal. So the standard way of gluing things into a junk journal is using a glue stick, but you can also use hot glue. I use that a lot in my junk journal spreads. Actually, I can show you one place where I use hot glue. I used hot glue to attach this like wristband that I got from a movie premiere. So hot glue can be good because it can help you add all kinds of different mediums to your journal. So just don't be afraid to don't limit yourself, I should say, to only using glue sticks. You can also use tape. Tape is good. I use that sometimes when I run out of glue sticks, or if I want something to look shiny and I don't want any glue residue, I also opt for using tape. So don't be afraid to try different mediums of glue to tack things on. Tip number 3 is to journal regularly. I think with junk journaling especially, it's easy to just go from being a junk journaler to a hoarder and just kind of collecting junk and we're not ever using it. That's something I definitely ran into, and especially if you're living in a small space, collecting random junk and not actually using it is not going to be beneficial. So it's important to not only use the junk and not only collect the junk, but actually using it. And also, junk journaling is fun. It should be fun. So setting up just like a weekly or bi-weekly practice of junk journaling can help you move through all the stuff that you're collecting and also just stay creatively active. So that's step number 3. Tip number 4 is to carry a pouch or Ziploc to collect junk. Oftentimes I find myself in public and there's something I want to junk journal, especially if it's something that's food related. I don't want it running around in my bag. Like I've taken cups from movie theaters and I need to like rinse out and wash out the cup when I get home. But I don't want to just throw the sticky cup in my purse. So having a Ziploc bag or like a reusable pouch can be really nice because you can collect that junk, have it separate. So like if you have a receipt or something, have that separate from just the other trash in your purse or your bag that you're throwing away. So I think that's really good, and it also encourages you to look around you and really identify things that are good junk journaling materials. All right, tip number 5 is to lay out spreads before gluing down. This is something I regret not doing every single time I do it. I think with junk journaling, it's easy just to glue things down, but if you really want your spread to look cohesive and put together, it's great to plan out in advance, like, okay, this is what I want layered on top of this. These are the different cutouts that I must include in the spread. Here's how I want it to look. So what I'll do is before gluing it down, I'll cut out all the pieces, lay them out how I want to appear on my spread, and then I'll take a picture with my phone, and then I'll start gluing them down bottom layer up. So that way I can see all the different pieces and there's never like something where I'm like, oh man, I really wanted to include this, but now I don't have space because I put it together just flim-flam any kind of way. So that's tip number 5. Tip number 6 is challenging yourself to use everything. I like to say that anything can be junk journaled. I think it's really cool to like include different things, and sometimes you have to keep something for a while. Like there was this magazine that I had for Survivor, and I couldn't really think of how I wanted to junk journal it, but I knew it was good junk journaling material. So I just ended up holding on to it until I had the inspiration to use it. So don't be afraid to hold on to some things. Like you don't want to be holding on to every single thing you have, but it's good to sometimes hold on to something because sometimes that moment of inspiration or realization will just click and you'll remember like, that's how I can use this thing. So yeah, challenge yourself to use everything and anything. Tip number 7 is to keep the inspiration flowing through social media and inspiration methods like Pinterest. So I junk journal all the time, and Pinterest is the main place I get inspiration for collaging. If you're looking for different influencers or people to follow, maybe I can do a separate video on that. But sometimes they're good for tips, good for just showing how to use different materials, how to actually take different things in real life and put them in your junk journal. Like I learned to use masking tape and lift the print of something and make your own sticker. That's something I never would have learned unless I was following people online who junk journal. So there's a difference between inspiration and just stealing stuff, but never be afraid to take inspiration, to learn new techniques, to grow as a junk journaler, and you can do that a lot by following other people and Pinteresting ideas. Number 8 is to ask family and offices for magazines. Magazines, I would say, are the number one best way to junk journal because you already have lots of different pictures. And you already kind of have a cohesive theme because all the prints and the text in the magazine are designed to go together. So you already kind of have a good jumping off point for junk journaling. But if you're not someone who has a lot of magazine subscriptions, it can be hard to actually get a hold of those magazines. So don't be afraid to ask family for them. Sometimes there's family members who are subscribed to a ton of different magazines and stuff. You'll be surprised at how much they're yes, I've been waiting to get these off my hands. Same thing with offices. Sometimes I've gotten outdated magazines from offices because they're just looking to get rid of it anyway and they were going to throw it away. And because someone asked for it, they just give you a bunch of them. So don't be afraid to ask. The worst thing that can happen is they say no, but the best thing that can happen is they say yes and give you a ton of junk journaling supplies. Number 9 is to strategically use white space. So even though I said to use everything, sometimes using white space can help make things pop out. Let me find an example in my actual junk journal. But sometimes using white space is good because it can just give you a chance to let your spreads breathe. It can give you a chance to make things stand out more. Here's a good one. So I went to this is from when I went to a youth conference for my church. So on the other side, instead of filling it up with more junk journaling from the thing, I just chose one thing to tape on and then chose a lyric from a song that we sang that night. So using white space doesn't necessarily have to mean you're junk journaling poorly or you don't have enough junk, but it can just be a way to add text, to add memories, to junk journal in a different kind of way, if that makes any sense. So don't be afraid to just have white space and use that white space effectively to draw attention to other junk journaling aspects. And last and finally, check thrift stores. Thrift stores are a great way to get junk journaling supplies. From cookbooks, they usually have lots of photos in it, travel books as well. I think if you're going somewhere and you're junk journaling for travel, getting a travel guide that has lots of pictures of the place you're going to can be really great. And usually thrift stores have them for $1, $2 maybe. They also are really great for notebooks. This notebook that I actually junk journaled in, I didn't get it at a thrift store. I got it on clearance for $3 because some of the pages were torn out. But in junk journaling, no one is going to realize those 3 pages that were torn out at the beginning. So don't be afraid to look in non-traditional places for junk journaling supplies. All right, those were my 10 tips to become a better junk journaler in 2026. If you have any other tips, leave them in the comments down below. And if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I post new videos every week, so I'll see you real soon. Bye.